Meeting the Rogues by Warlock Writer. Peter arrived at Stark Tower to find the Rogue Avengers in the penthouse rather than Tony. "Who the hell are you?" Clint demanded when Peter walked into the living room where the Rogues sat. "None of your business," Peter snapped in response. "What the fuck are you even doing here?" Peter questioned, his disdain for the group clear. "We live here. It's the Avengers Tower," Clint replied, as if talking to a young child. "Actually, this tower belongs to Tony. You have no right being here," Peter retorted, wishing that they would leave. "We have every right to be here, son, and you should show us more respect. Clearly Tony has been a bad influence on you," Steve said. Peter could barely contain his anger. "You certainly shouldn't be here. You should rot in prison for what you did to Tony. And why should I respect an attempted murderer?" Peter grew angrier, the look on his face intimidating to the group, who seemed to shrink under his gaze. "Pete, it's fine," Tony said rather frantically as he rushed into the room after being alerted by Friday that Peter was with the Rogues. "No, it's not. He shouldn't be here after what he did," Peter yelled, glaring at Steve as he did. "Peter, why don't you go to the lab and I'll join you soon?" suggested Tony. He really didn't want Peter anywhere near the Rogues, mainly Steve, after what happened in Siberia. He simply didn't trust Steve. No way I'm leaving you alone, especially not with him," Peter said defiantly, shaking his head in refusal to leave. What did he mean by attempted murderer, Steve? This time it was Sam that spoke up. "Tony's probably been filling his head with lies about what happened between us in Siberia," Steve scoffed. "Tony didn't tell me anything about what happened in Siberia because he couldn't bring himself to talk about it. He couldn't bring himself to even say what happened because he could barely think about it. He couldn't get help because he couldn't bring himself to tell anyone what you did. I only found out because I hacked his suit and watched the footage of you slamming your shield into his chest, then leaving him in the cold to die. If we had got to him much later, he wouldn't be stood here right now. Do you understand me? You almost killed him." Peter raged. The rest of the Rogues looked stunned by what Peter said. They looked completely devastated for Tony and betrayed by Steve. "You're lying, he was absolutely fine. You're just being dramatic because Tony hates me, which means you do too," Steve rushed out. "I am not being dramatic. You weren't here when he was found, when me, Rhodey and Pepper refused to leave his bedside for almost a week when we didn't know if he would pull through. You haven't had to talk Tony down from panic attacks or comfort him from nightmares because of what you did. And you know the worst part of it all? Tony doesn't hate you. He should, but he doesn't because he's too kind for his own good. Me, on the other hand, I hate you for what you did," Peter snarled. Before anyone could react, Peter made his way over to Steve and punched him square in the jaw, causing Steve to stumble backwards and land ungracefully on the floor. "That is nothing compared to what you deserve," Peter snarled. Steve looked terrified as he cradled his probably broken jaw. He was stunned by the fact that he had almost killed Tony, not knowing that Tony was so badly injured and unable to get help in his damaged suit. He was also shocked that Peter had managed to hit him with enough force to actually injure him. "Who is this kid?" Clint asked, surprise evident in his tone. Tony, with a look of pure adoration and pride for Peter, spoke up. "This is Peter. He's my son." Tony offered no explanation as to how long he's had a son, and the fact none of them knew he did before now. "And one more thing," Peter began with a smirk. "I'm Spider-Man, and my powers mean I'm not only stronger than you, but faster and so much more powerful. You do anything to hurt me or my dad, and I'll end you before you can blink. Got it?" Peter threatened darkly. Steve nodded his head in lieu of speaking. "Good," Peter exclaimed. "Come on, Dad, let's go to the lab," Peter stated, before guiding a dumbfounded Tony to the lab, leaving a stunned set of superheroes behind. Steve had a lot of explaining to do. Before you say anything, I'm not apologising for punching him in the face. Peter rushed out as they entered the lab. I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to thank you for sticking up for me, Tony said, with a genuine smile on his face. Any time, Dad. You've been there for me so many times. It's only fair I return the favour. I'll always protect you, Peter replied. Tony pulled Peter into a tight hug, placing a soft kiss into Peter's hair. I love you, kid. Love you too, Dad. It's fair to say Steve never did anything to Peter or Tony again, despite the initial coldness from Peter towards the rogues and the tensions between Tony and his former teammates. In time they all grew close again, particularly Bucky, Natasha and Peter, much to the horror of everyone as they were a terrifying trio. Eventually, Steve and Tony began to form some kind of relationship again. Nowhere near where it was before, but there was an understanding between the two of them. That's not to say that Peter ever forgave Steve. Thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoy. Have a lovely rest of your day.